When I had a kid, I seriously wondered if my writing days were over. Well, now 2 years later, I have finally published my first book. I'm finding the time to work on some other books, and I've even found time to start working on this YouTube channel. So I'm here to tell you that it is in fact possible. I've got 5 tips for you that I have found to be extremely helpful. All right, let's dive into it before my son wakes up. Just kidding, he's actually not here right now, which is why I have the time to make this video. Tip number 1 is to find your time. You need to write when you can. And to do this, you need to think about when that's gonna be. If I just hope to find the time to write, I'm probably not going to find it. But if I actually block out some time for it and find the time that works best for me, then I actually find the time to write. So one thing that I have done, which helps me in this, is to have a planner. Planning out my week, scheduling my days helps a ton. But essentially, you need to find your time. It might be extremely early in the morning. It might be really late at night. It might be on your lunch break. I don't know when your time is gonna be, but I assure you that there is time in your week that you could make to write. I would probably recommend finding a little bit of time each day instead of just a day every now and then, but maybe all you have time for is just once a week. What I don't recommend is taking time away from your family or away from your work in order to do this. Instead, make some sacrifices and discipline yourself to maybe wake up really early in the morning before everybody's up and get in a little 30-minute session of writing. So find a time that works for you and be consistent writing at that time. Number 2 is to eliminate wasteful time throughout your week. We all have the same amount of time in a week, but it's how we use our time that matters. Sure, take some time to relax and enjoy some things, but if you really look at your life, how much time are you wasting on social media and watching TV shows and movies? And how much time are you wasting on your phone and surfing the internet, looking up random information and watching YouTube videos? You're gonna have to make sacrifices to free up some time so that you can do more productive things. So for me, I don't have a television, I don't have a smartphone, I don't have social media, and all these things have freed up a bunch of time that allow me to spend a little bit of time writing each day or each week. It's gonna hurt, but you've got to discipline yourself and eliminate wasteful distractions. Tip number 3, ride the waves. This was a big one for me. After having a kid, I was still trying to write. My work was busy, my books were crazy, family was insane, and I was feeling miserable from trying to do way too much. And so I was like, I gotta stop. And so I realized that this was not a wave and I was trying to force it. And instead of continuing on, I said, I'm gonna take a break from writing. With how busy life is, there's gonna be times I can pour into writing and times I can't. And I need to be ready to take a step back from writing to invest in my family and life and work. So in this season, I feel just like a surfer where I'm riding a wave and then maybe I need to take my foot off the gas a little bit and chill for a bit. But then I'm ready to ride another wave. And you know, writing is something that I want to continue investing in the long run. And in order for me to do that, I think I'm gonna have to slow down at some points. And then, you know, maybe momentum starts picking up, I ride the wave and I finish a project or a book, and then maybe a time of rest. And so it's just gonna be this ebb and flow, you know? Ebb and flow. Ride the waves. Number 4 is to take a writing retreat. A couple years ago for my birthday, my wife was like, hey, I am gonna take you on a writing retreat. And so we got an Airbnb on a lake, and I had just a weekend to both of us invested in writing. It was amazing. So maybe now is a bad time for you and you're not finding time to write. Well, then plan out a writing retreat sometime in the future. It could be just an afternoon if that's all you have time for, or it could be a day or a weekend or a whole week. But plan out a writing retreat, a specific time where you're just gonna knock out a bunch of writing and editing or whatever it is you're working on. For me, this was like creating an artificial wave that I could ride. Because with how busy life is, even when I sit down to write, it's like, oh, I have so much going on. It's hard for me to just sit down and write for 20 minutes and then go back to life. Doing this is really hard to make a bunch of progress. Well, blocking out just one weekend for writing and writing alone helped me get a ton more than I could get done in months of a little bit each day. So go on a writing retreat. All right, tip number 5 is to be creative about your writing. No. Write creatively. Write creatively. That's tip number 5. I do some of my best writing when I'm driving in the car, or when I'm laying down trying to go to bed, or going on a walk, or going on a run. In those times, I'm always just playing back my book and what I'm working on in my head. And so I'll be laying down trying to go to sleep, and I'll get up like 5 or 6 different times because I keep having these ideas that I have to write down. A couple years ago, I was working on a fun little fiction book, and I would sit at the blank page and I would struggle to come through some of these plot holes that I had. But I was going on runs multiple times a week, and I decided that my time running, I would begin just working through the plot in my mind, running it back, playing different outcomes and different stories I could take. And I actually overcame that writer's block in my time running. And so you can multitask. You can be running or cleaning or driving and working on your story or your book at the same time. Occasionally, I'll record if I have a great idea, I'll record myself in my car while I'm driving, and I'll just kind of write the story while I'm driving. So your commute to work can be a time for writing as well. Just be sure to capture your great ideas. If I wait till I'm staring at the blank page, it's going to be so much harder for me to think of what to put down. But if I'm just going through life and going on a walk and I have a great idea, then I can write it down, and then it makes the blank page so much easier to look at. All right, so there you have it. That's my 5 little bits of advice for people who have really busy lives. You got family and work going on. Implement these 5 strategies and you're gonna be able to progress through your stories and your books and whatever it is you're working on. Well, thanks for watching this video. Not sure why you did, but really appreciate it. And I never know what to do at this point. So we're done here.